Welcome to Low Bridge. Today's bridge tip focuses on standard American yellow card, 2/1 game force, and fast arrival. Today's learning points include the best way for opener to rebid with support, playing standard American, how to stop below game, and how to leave room to look for slam. We'll also cover openers rebid with support, playing 2/1 game force, how the bidding is easy and natural. Discuss when fast arrival applies and the difficulty you have sometimes playing 2/1 game force when responder has invitational values and how invitational jump shifts can help. Let's dive in. Playing standard American, a 2/1 response promises a rebid. The ACBL SACI system booklet, SACI is standard American yellow card. The booklet says responder promises to bid again if he responded with a new suit at the 2 level, unless opener's rebid is at the game level. This applies when responder is an unpassed hand. The implication is that all of opener's rebids below game are forcing because responder is promising a rebid. Responder can't pass. So if opener doesn't have a game forcing hand opposite a standard American 2/1 response, which could possibly just have invitational values, opener will often need to use the default bid, a waiting bid, before they describe their shape. The upside of this is that you avoid obstructing your auctions with the jumps to game. If you're able to force by showing support below game level, that leaves room to assess if a slam is available. Let's take a look at an example. Opener bids 1 spade. Responder's 2 heart bid shows 5 or more hearts and invitational values. Here, responder has 11 high card points and a 5 card heart suit. So that's a perfectly fine 2 heart response playing standard American. If opener raises to 3 hearts, that's forcing. The reason it's forcing is that it's below game, and responders 2/1 response, their 2 heart bid promises a rebid. So the 3 heart bid is forcing. If you look at the 2 hands, only 9 tricks are available. Opener shouldn't be eager to immediately show their heart support because that is forcing. Opener has a minimum hand, and if responder just has invitational values, opener is willing to stop at 3 hearts, to stop in a part score. So opener should not use the forcing raise of responder's suit immediately. Minimum opener should use the default bid in standard American to allow their partnership to stop below game if responder just has invitational values, if responder doesn't have a game forcing hand. Let's look at how that would work. Opener bids 1 spade, showing an opening hand with 5 or more spades. Responder's 2 heart response says they have invitational or better values and they have 5 or more hearts. Opener's 2 spade rebid is forcing because responder promised a rebid with their 2/1 response, and 2 spades is below game. 2 spades is the default rebid. In playing standard American, 2 of opener's major is the default or waiting rebid after a 2/1 response. Responder's 2-no bid says that they have a balanced invitational hand, that they're willing to stop below game if opener has a minimum. Opener has support for hearts, king third. They have a minimum hand. They're willing to stop below game, but they want to play in hearts with the heart fid instead of playing 2-no. So they bid 3 hearts to place the contract. This is an excellent example of how a minimum opener uses the default bid to stop below game when responder just has invitational values. Let's illustrate these key points about standard American with 2 examples. In both cases, the auction begins 1 spade, 2 hearts. Responder's 2 heart bid is a 2/1, and in standard American, that promises a rebid. So in the first example, opener has a minimum hand and has heart support. If opener raises to 3 hearts immediately, that is forcing because it's below game and responder has promised a rebid. Opener isn't strong enough to force the game opposite an potentially invitational 2-heart response. So opener uses the default bid in standard American, which is to repeat their major. Now responder shows a balanced hand with invitational values by bidding 2 no, and opener is able to place the contract in 3 hearts, saying that they have heart support, but they don't have enough values to bid game opposite an invitational responder. In the second example, opener is slightly stronger. They can force the game with 15 support points opposite a standard American, potentially invitational 2-heart response. Because they're strong enough to force the game opposite a 2/1 standard American response, they can show their support immediately. So opener bids 3 hearts, they show their support immediately, and this leaves room to look for slam. Having a minimum opener use the default bid instead of immediately showing their support is a bit of a flaw, but it is far better than having a non-forcing raise to 3 hearts. If a 3-heart bid by opener was non-forcing, then if opener had extra values, they'd be too strong to bid 3 hearts, they would need to jump to 4 hearts. This obstructs your own auction and hurts slam bidding. Slams are often about the location of controls. Look at this example where North's hand is ace king fifth, queen third, king fourth, and a singleton, 15 support points, enough for a game. If a raise to 3 hearts was non-forcing, then North would need to jump to 4 hearts because they have enough values to force the game. They can't risk 3 hearts being passed out. If South held a hand like the one shown here, queen doubleton, ace king jack 6, ace queen, and 3 small clubs, the 3 quick club losers makes the 5 level risky. So South may choose not to look for slam. And because you didn't leave bidding room to look for slam, North-South could easily miss a good slam. If North-South raised to 3 hearts and 3 hearts was forcing, South can show slam interest with a 4 diamond control bid, and North can cooperate with a 4 spade control bid because they have the club control that South is missing. Now it's easy to reach slam. You don't want to play openers raised to 3 hearts as non-forcing. When responder bid 2 hearts, a 2/1, they're showing 10 or more points and 5 or more hearts. South's hand is unlimited at this point. If a raise to 3 hearts by opener was non-forcing, an opener with extra values needs to jump to 4 hearts opposite their unlimited partner. Bidding room is valuable. That's why people preempt to steal your bidding room. When your partner is unlimited and you have extra values, you don't want to steal your own bidding space. Jumping to 4 hearts, if that was your agreement that 3 hearts was non-forcing and that you needed to jump to 4 hearts to show extra values, well, jumping to 4 hearts would then say you have the extra values, but it also says, I know your hand is unlimited, but I don't care to leave room for you to show a spade control and slam interest by bidding 3 spades, to show a club control and slam interest by bidding 4 clubs, or show a diamond control and slam interest by bidding 4 diamonds. Advanced pairs can use an artificial 3-no bid to further clarify their slam interest. But the one thing you want to avoid is preempting your own auction when you have extra values and your partner is unlimited with a jump to 4 hearts. It's crucial to play opener's raise of responders 2/1 as forcing. Jumping the game to show extra values opposite an unlimited partner forces your partner to guess when they're strong. It's easy to teach standard American players not to bid above their suit if they're not willing to accept an invitation. This makes an immediate raise forcing and leaves room to assess whether a slam is available. Let's compare these standard American auctions with 2/1 game force auctions where opener has support. Bidding proceeds naturally after a 2/1 game force. That makes the auctions easy. There's no need to manufacture bids, no need to crowd auctions with jumps to show extra values. There's no confusing rules about which bids are forcing. So opener is allowed to show their shape, and this leaves room to choose the right game and to look for slam. 2/1 game force auctions are easy because bidding proceeds naturally. Responder's 2-heart bid shows 5 or more hearts and establishes a game force. Opener's 3-heart bid shows 3 or more hearts and it's forcing because you're not yet at game. This leaves room for responder to show a spade control by bidding 3 spades. Responder could bid 4 clubs. That would show a club control and slam interest, and it would deny a spade control because you bypassed the opportunity to bid 3 spades. Responder could bid 4 diamonds to show a diamond control and slam interest and deny a club control and a spade control. And advanced pairs can use an artificial 3-no bid to clarify your level of slam interest. Some 2/1 teachers advise incorporating fast arrival in 2/1 auctions. The image to the right is taken from a popular teacher's 2/1 game force summary, and I've highlighted the section that talks about incorporating fast arrival. That is a big mistake. The whole point of 2/1 is to leave room to choose the right game and assess whether a slam is available. And when your partner is unlimited, you don't want to steal bidding room. A minimum opener doesn't preclude a slam. Responders unlimited. Jumping to game obstructs your own auction, which is counter to the goals of 2/1 game force. This prevents responder from showing slam interest or control below the game level. Slams are often about how well the hands fit together. Jumping to game forces a strong partner to guess at the 5 level. Guessing wrong leads to a missed slam and to going down at the 5 level. Fast arrival just doesn't apply in 2/1 game force. It undermines the purpose of 2/1. If your 2/1 game force teacher advises playing fast arrival in 2/1 game force auctions, please ask your teacher to consider using a curriculum that better positions students for success with 2/1 game force, a curriculum that doesn't preempt your own auctions when your partner is unlimited. I'm going to include a link to our video lesson series on 2/1 game force in the description of this video. Playing 2/1 game force auctions can be awkward when responder has invitational values. Take a look at South's hand to the right. If you were playing standard American, South has a comfortable 2-heart response showing 5 or more hearts and invitational or better values. Playing 2/1 game force, a 2/1 response shows 13 or more points. South must respond 1-no trump initially if they're playing 2/1 game force. They don't have the strength to force the game. This expands the range of a 1-no trump response. Playing standard American, you'd expect a 1-no trump response to show 10 or less points. Playing 2/1 game force, a 1-no trump response can have as many as 12 points. This wider range makes the 1-no trump response more difficult to handle, particularly in an auction like the one shown to the right, where North rebids 2 clubs. So North is showing a hand with spades and clubs and could have a minimum opener or could have substantial extra values. And playing 2/1 game force, the 1-no trump response also has a wider range. So South could have up to 12 points. To invite game, South is going to need to bid 2-no or 3 hearts and needs to guess which one to bid. If North has 3 hearts, then bidding 3 hearts is going to be a winner. But if North had a singleton heart, then it's very risky to bid 3 hearts. So there is a bit of guessing involved. Here is another example where it's routine to find your heart fit if playing standard American. Playing 2/1 game force, it's more difficult. Opener bids 1 spade. Responder doesn't have the values for a 2/1 game force, so responder must bid 1-no, showing less than 13 points. Opener's 2 spade bid shows a minimum opener with 6 or more spades, and now responder must guess If they pass, they might miss a game. Opener could easily have 14 high card points and a game might be available. Responder could bid 2-0 to show invitational values. Bidding 2-0 risks missing a heart fit, but bidding 3 hearts is risky. Opener could be 6-1, 3-3, and 3 hearts would be a bad spot. 2/1 game force often gives a responder with invitational values a guess on how to proceed. Invitational jump shifts are a great way for 2/1 game force pairs to catch up with standard American pairs when responder has invitational values and a good 6-card suit. An invitational jump shift is used by responder to invite game immediately. It guarantees a good 6-card suit and an outside entry. It shows invitational values. It's a vital part of 2/1 game force. On the auction to the right, South's jump to 3 hearts shows their good 6-card heart suit and an outside entry. Here, the outside entry is the Diamond King. After a 1-spade opening, responder has 3 invitational jump shifts available. The auction to the right shows a jump shift in hearts. There is also an invitational jump shift available to 3 clubs and an invitational jump shift to 3 diamonds. These are great ways to show invitational hands immediately, playing 2/1 game force. To summarize, playing standard American, a 2/1 response shows invitational or better values and promises a rebid. If opener isn't prepared to force to game opposite a potentially invitational responder, then opener must use the default rebid, which is 2 of their suit, or bid a lower suit. This allows the partnership to stop below game. Any bid above 2 of opener's major is game forcing, playing standard American. Opener shouldn't jump to game with extra values. That steals the room needed to look for slam. If you're playing 2/1 game force and responder begins with a 2/1 game force, bidding is easy and natural. There's no need to jump, no need to manufacture a bid. Fast arrival doesn't apply in 2/1 game force auctions because responder's hand is unlimited. 2/1 game force auctions can be awkward when responder has invitational values. That's because a 1-no trump response needs to expand all the way up to 12 points because a 2/1 response promises a game forcing hand. And it can be hard for responder to show invitational values after beginning with a 1-no trump response. Some of these difficulties can be mitigated by playing invitational jump shifts, which show a good 6-card suit and a side entry. Let's look at this matrix comparing standard American and 2/1 game force. If responder is able to make a game forcing 2/1 response, it's an advantage for 2/1 game force pairs. That's because bidding proceeds naturally. There's no need for jumps. It's easier to find slams and choose the right game. And because games and slams are so crucial, particularly in team games and bridge, that explains the popularity of a 2/1 game force. If responder has invitational values, it's an advantage for standard American because opener knows immediately that responder has invitational or better values. Similarly, when responder bids 1-no, it's a bit of an advantage for standard American because it has a narrow range. Playing standard American, the 1-no trump response shows 10 or less points. Playing 2/1 game force, it can have up to 12 points. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribing to this channel is a great way to encourage YouTube to share bridge tips with more bridge players. If you'd like to see the next episode in this series, focusing on when opener has a second suit to show, please leave a comment. Thanks again.